Hello, everybody.
Okay, so you can welcome her and then let's
Hi,
start.
welcome Eileen, for accepting our invitation to talk about the accreditation to the ICF. Thank you for that. So we will be having our students, participants joining in between. I would like you to introduce yourself. Tuba, we have met. Some of them have met in Mumbai, but of course I'll ask you. But first, so can I just request you to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, in the meantime, Prosperity will also join in, who's been coordinating.
Eileen?
So, okay. Yes, Alina, you can come on.
Okay. So I'm Eileen Gordon. I'm with the International Coaching Federation and specifically with the Credentials and Standards part of the organization. So we work with individuals to earn their credential in coaching, and those credentials have a series of requirements that need to be met. And I'm the Director of Operations, and so I help oversee that whole process for our team to process those applications for the individuals applying. I'm located in Lexington, or it's actually Georgetown, which is about 20 minutes north of Lexington, which is the headquarters of ICF. You want me to go ahead and share my screen and get into the presentation?
Yes, of course, you can continue now.
Okay, go ahead. Can you enable the screen sharing for me?
Just a minute.
Hi. Okay, so you are the co-host.
Okay, so can you share now?
Ellen, you can try now.
There we go. Yep, I can share now. Although it's not picking up the right screen.
A permission has been given from here. It's not still picking up?
Well, it's not reading the right screen for me. So let me.
Okay, I can make it.
Yeah. Here it is. I found it. For some reason,
So what we can do is, now is it okay?
There we go.
Yeah, she's done. Okay.
Great. Sorry about that. All right. Well, I am delighted to be with you all today and to be part of this webinar. ICF's Credentials and Standards is a body within the International Coaching Federation that provides credentialing services to individual coach practitioners. And while this is a separate service offering from ICF membership, which is provided by ICF professional coaches, our organizations work in close partnership to support and serve individual coach practitioners. We also work in partnership with other organizations across the One ICF system to advance coaching and to realize our bold vision of ensuring coaching as an integral part of a thriving society. Collectively, ICF represents the largest global member network of professional coaches, with more than 59,000 ICF members in 160 plus countries, 55,000 ICF credential holders, over 2,000 accredited education programs, and we have 140 chapters in 99 countries and territories. Just as we hold candidates and credential holders to the highest standards of professional and ethical practice, ICF Credentials and Standards also holds itself to the highest standards in certification practice. We are committed to building and growing a certification program that is firmly grounded in robust research and empirical evidence. Ours is a complex certification program with 3 levels of credentialing and numerous pathways to apply, each with its own set of requirements for education, experience, mentor coaching, and assessment. But our aim is to deliver that program in a simple and elegant way, making the process easy to navigate, even if the standards are robust, and to provide support, guidance, and direction to candidates with a fundamental human touch. Our ultimate goal is to allow ICF credential holders to shine throughout their coaching by shining as an individual coach practitioner, and collectively to shine as light on the entire coaching profession and the power it offers our world. So that's a little bit about ICF. I'd like to turn to each of you and start with some dreaming. If you could look ahead and imagine what the next year is going to look like, what do you hope to do, learn, or achieve in the next 12 months? What is the best thing that you could do to advance your goals? Where do you see yourself in the future? Well, let's take a look at what an ICF credential can offer to help you achieve those dreams. The ICF credential is the most globally recognized professional coaching certification. ICF credential holders are part of a self-regulating group of professional coaches who provide accountability to clients and the coaching profession as a whole. They pursue and complete rigorous education and practice requirements that provide legitimacy and independent validation, while also demonstrating their commitment to excellence in coaching. ICF has been recognized and earned awards across the professional association community for its rigorous process to develop standards for its credentials. ICF Credentials and Standards is dedicated to ensuring the quality, integrity, and the value of the ICF credential for all who hold them and for the clients they serve. To serve as the global gold standard for professional coach credentialing by offering robust, consistent, and fair credentialing processes, ICF Credentials and Standards provides assurance of quality to clients, motivates coaches to continue their professional growth and competency, and delivers high-value credentials to the global coaching community. Credentials have been an important part of ICF for many years, but our organization and for the individual coach practitioner, the value and importance of a credential are on the rise. Why is it important now more than ever before? According to the ICF Global Coaching Study, coaches say the #1 obstacle for the coaching profession is untrained individuals who call themselves coaches. Obtaining an ICF credential allows the holder to be part of a distinguished global community that meets the highest standards in coaching. Clients value certification, both individuals and organizations. Increasingly, coaching consumers are asking coaches if they hold a credential or a certification. Coach practitioners are increasingly seeing the value that a credential holds for them as individuals, but also in the long term for the coaching profession. As a result, a growing number of coaches are pursuing and earning a credential as a way to distinguish themselves and to increase their value to their clients. The ICF and PricewaterhouseCoopers 2022 Global Consumer Awareness Study found that for clients, the ICF credential demonstrates not just the qualifications, skill, and commitment to high professional and ethical practice on the part of the coach, but it also demonstrates the integrity and the professionalism of the entire coaching profession. Clients who have engaged in coaching indicate that working with a credentialed coach is important. And among those who are considering a coaching relationship, nearly 8 in 10 indicate that it would be important or very important for their coach to hold a credential. To clients, the ICF credential provides a mark of quality, assuring the coaching consumer that they are working with an experienced, knowledgeable coach and that their investment in coaching is a wise one. Clients who engage in coaching with a credentialed coach report higher levels of satisfaction than clients who work with a non-credentialed coach. Among clients who work with a credentialed coach, more than half indicated they were very satisfied compared to the approximately 1 in 4 clients who work with a non-credentialed coach. Clients who work with a credentialed coach were also more likely to recommend coaching to their colleagues, friends, and family. The 2020 Global Coaching Study found that coach practitioners with 1 or more credentials from a professional association reported 25% higher average revenues from coaching than those without a credential. Pride of earning an ICF credential and attaining the mark of quality and excellence as a coach practitioner and what it stands for in the global recognized gold standard for coaching To be a part of a distinguished community of coach practitioners who hold an ICF credential, recognized as the highest quality professional coach certification at the global level, participating in a community that is advancing the coaching practice and thereby advancing the profession. There is no value that could be placed on that feeling. And it doesn't end the moment a coach earns a credential. Whether it's an associate certified coach, professional certified coach, or master certified coach credential. Rather, ICF credential coaches often share that the value is in their professional journey that begins with the awarding of their credential and continues as they learn and grow and develop their skills, expertise, and experience in coaching throughout their professional careers. An essential component of the ICF credentialing program is the commitment to ongoing learning and growth as a practitioner. The design of the ICF credentialing program with its 3 levels of certification, the ACC, PCC, and MCC, helps to support a coach practitioner in growing as a professional across their career.
Excuse me,
But that
Eileen, I'm
yes,
so sorry, but I don't think, is the presentation still running? Because I cannot see it.
it is. It should be a picture.
It's
Can you
just
go
a
ahead?
picture, right? There are
It
no
is-
words, right?
Correct. It is just a picture.
Just wanted to confirm. Really sorry.
No, that's all right.
Please continue.
Yeah, that's all right. We were trying to be inspirational in this section.
All right, thanks.
So the learning and growth also happens for the ICF credential holders who remain at any one of those 3 levels of credentialing as well. To renew or maintain a credential, a coach must engage in continuous education, which can include coursework, mentor coaching, coaching supervision, and even research, writing, and publication. ICF offers 3 credentials: the ACC, Associate Certified Coach, PCC, Professional Certified Coach, MCC, Master Certified Coach. Eligibility to apply for a credential level is based on the amount of coach education and coaching experience hours obtained. At the ACC level, you need 60 hours of coach education and 100 hours of coaching experience. At the PCC level, you need 125 hours of coach education and 500 hours of coaching experience. At the MCC level, you need 200 hours of coach education and 2,500 hours of coaching experience. To apply for the MCC, you must have first gained a PCC. However, you may apply directly for either the ACC or PCC if you meet the eligibility requirements. In addition, ICF now offers the advanced certification in team coaching to those that hold a current credential. Worldwide, we are just shy of 55,000 credential holders. In India alone, as of November 1st, there were 820 ACCs, 853 PCCs, and 88 MCCs. In addition, 34 individuals held an ACTC. Let's take a moment to hear from ICF credential holders who renewed or upgraded their ICF credential last year. 87% either agreed or strongly agreed that their credential validates their specialized knowledge in coaching. 83% agreed or strongly agreed that the credential indicates their level of coaching competency. 94% strongly agreed that the credential demonstrates their attainment of professional standards of coaching practice. And again, 94% agreed or strongly agreed that the credential enhances their professional credibility. More than 2/3 of respondents indicated that the credential increases their client confidence. So let's talk a little bit now about one of the requirements that distinguishes the ICF credential, the written exam. ICF exams for a credential are offered in a proctored format. ICF Credentials and Standards is committed to rigorous standards for credential holders and also for us in the way that we deliver the credentialing services. Standards for certification bodies require secure testing. What does proctored testing provide? It assures fairness for candidates in the examination process, that the process does not allow some, even a small number, to have an unfair advantage at the test content than others. It preserves the integrity of the exam, but more importantly, preserving the integrity and the value of the credential for those who worked so hard to earn them. As you can see, the development of a high caliber exam is a very involved process, and coaches are involved in all stages of creating an ICF exam. ICF exams are for coaches, created by coaches. I'm very excited to let you know that just this week, this Monday, we launched a new exam, the ACC exam. This exam is designed for ACC candidates at that stage of their career and assesses a candidate's knowledge of coaching. This exam was pilot tested with more than 700 ACC candidates in early 2024. The ACC exam covers 3 broad domains of coaching knowledge: ethics, definitions and boundaries of coaching, and coaching competencies, strategies, and techniques. For the ACC exam, candidates are provided with 90 minutes to take the exam with a 10-minute break halfway through. There are 60 multiple choice questions, and there is only one correct response to each answer. The questions on the exam are knowledge-based, and we'll take a look at a sample question in just a moment. Currently and until March 14th of 2025, ACC candidates have the option to take the ACC exam or the current credentialing exam, which we will cover in just a bit. And finally, the ACC exam is offered in 16 languages. All right, let's take a look at what a question on the ACC exam would look like. Which of the following represents the most important purpose of silence in coaching? A, to allow a client to process their thoughts. B, to enable the coach and client to hear one another. C, to provide the coach time to think of their next question. Or D, to provide the client time to think of the right responses to the coach's question. The correct answer, A, to allow a client to process their thoughts. Candidates at the PCC and MCC level are required to pass the ICF credentialing exam. This exam assesses knowledge and ability to apply the following in practice: ICF core competencies, the ICF code of ethics, and the ICF definition of coaching. The ICF credentialing exam is a situational judgment exam. Let's take a closer look at what that means. Coaching as a practice requires professionals to be able to make challenging judgments in the moment to best serve their clients. A situational judgment exam provides a manner in which to test an individual's knowledge, abilities, and skills in a coaching context. It will present the test taker with a realistic situation and a selection of options that are plausible, yet not equally effective ways of handling the situation. A situational judgment test is more nuanced than a simple right-wrong test question exam. Candidates are provided with 3 hours to complete the exam. It's delivered in 2 sections with an optional 10-minute break midway. The ICF credentialing exam consists of 78 scenario-based items, followed by 4 possible responses. Candidates select the best response and the worst response of the 4 options presented. There is only one correct best response and one correct worst response for each coaching scenario. Although more than one response may represent a reasonable response to the scenario presented, candidates will receive credit only for selecting the best possible action or the worst possible action. Here we have now a sample question or item from a situational judgment test. A university biomedical researcher is working with the coach to improve their interactions with colleagues. The client is a very analytical thinker and can easily explain detailed data points and complex graphs, but seems reluctant to share anything personal with the coach. In previous sessions, the coach encouraged the client to describe how they felt at social events, but the client seems highly uncomfortable, answering only with short one-word responses. When the client arrives to their session today, the client silently hands the coach a journal. The client has written several detailed entries over the last week about their experience attending a university luncheon, a faculty party, and a staff development workshop since their last session. While the client says very little to the coach in the moment, their entries show deep reflections about the anxiety the client experienced at these events and their desire to overcome social anxiety. What should the coach do? A, acknowledge the reflection work the client has done and ask the client if they feel comfortable exploring some of the emotions they described in their journal. B, ask the client if they would summarize the entries they detailed in their journal for the coach. C, ask the client to identify some steps they can take to overcome the anxieties they wrote about. And D, ask the client what new awareness they developed about themselves through the journaling process. I'll give you a moment just to absorb all that information.
Can I give it a try?
Sure.
I feel A is the best and B is the worst.
All right. Well, let's take a look. A is the best action, but C has been identified as the worst action. So we do have additional sample questions on our website. One of the things to remember, and I think this highlights, is all the options that are going to be given to you are going to be very plausible. And what you have to remember when taking a situational judgment exam, in particular the ICF exam, what we're looking for is very specifically based on the scenario given to you without any additional background, just information in there, and according specifically and only to the ICF core competencies, ethics, and definition of coaching. What is the best action and what is the worst action? One of the tips that I have heard from individuals who have taken the credentialing exam is that a lot of people struggle with finding the worst action. And one thing that a couple people have indicated is that if they can identify which competency caused them to choose the best action, keeping that competency in mind has helped them identify what the worst action might be. So the credentialing exam is divided into 4 domains: foundation, co-creating the relationship, communicating effectively, and cultivating learning and growth. As with any exam, we know that one of the biggest questions is how to prepare and what to expect in the testing process. To prepare for the exam, the best resource is your education and experience. Your education was founded on the ICF core competencies, and through your experience, you have applied your education. The exam is based on the ICF core competencies and the ICF Code of Ethics, so be sure to review those. You can spend time reflecting on common coaching situations and how coaches react to them. Give thought to what the core competencies look like when demonstrated in coaching and what coaching looks like when they are not demonstrated by a coach. As you look to prepare in earnest for the exam, here are some resources available to you. On the ICF website, under Credentials and Standards in the menu bar, on the gray navigation bar, click on Core Competencies. On this page, you can review the core competencies and access it in multiple different languages. On this page, you will also find links to a video series done on the competencies and to a video overview of the updated competencies. On the ICF website, under the Home link on the menu bar, in the gray navigation bar, under Ethics menu item, you will find a link to the ICF Code of Ethics. Along with reviewing the code, you can also access the ICF Code of Ethics video series. And at the bottom of the page, there's a link for insights and considerations for ethics. The insights and considerations provide support to understand each one of the standards found in the Code of Ethics. Reach into the bookshelf or the closet or wherever you may have stored your materials from a coaching education program. Take the time, go through them again, spending time refreshing yourself with the knowledge it provided you. And on the ICF website, click on Credentials and Standards on the menu bar. And if you scroll down about halfway to the What Does It Take to Earn a Credential section, the 5th step is the exam, and there you will find a link to the credentialing exam information page. On that page to the right is a gold bar. Click on the exam content link. And on the exam content link, you will find 8 sample questions with answers. And if taking the ACC exam, you will then want to check out the ACC information page that also has sample questions on it. And finally, reflect on your mentor coaching experience. Mentor coaching is designed to help you identify core competency skills in coaching situations and enhance the application of those skills in your own coaching. You may also check out the minimum skills requirement page found through the performance evaluation information page. There is an ICF white paper on referring a client to therapy that can also be helpful. And newly released just in August, you may find a tutorial on the Pearson VUE website. Pearson VUE is our partner who offers the exam or administers the exam. And there you can experience the exam and learn how to navigate in the system. The process for the exam begins with your application for a credential. In the application, there is an exam section. And in that section, you will need to enter your legal first and last name as it shows on your identification you plan to use during the check-in or exam day. If the name entered does not match, then you will not be able to take the exam that day. In addition, if you need to request an accommodation, you will indicate that in the application so that the instructions and documents can be sent to you on how to submit the request. Once your application has been submitted, you can turn your attention to the next steps. First, if you require an accommodation, complete the paperwork and submit it as directed with any needed documentation. And if you need any language support, complete that form and submit it as well. Second, do the research to find a testing center in your area so you can plan accordingly for the time that will be involved. If a testing center is not easily accessible, you can consider taking the exam online through Pearson VUE OnView. We will cover some considerations for taking the exam online in just a bit. And finally, once you receive your email notice from ICF that you've been authorized to take the exam, you will schedule your exam. Detailed information on how to schedule the exam will be included in the exam authorization email. Before exam day, you're going to make sure that you have your identification in hand for the check-in. Take the time to review the FAQs available so you're prepared to handle whatever you might experience in the process. If testing at a test center, you can review the What to Expect video. If testing online, there are a multitude of resources to review to help ensure that your space and your system and yourself are ready to take the exam. On exam day, be well rested and have a snack or a meal prior to the exam so you can focus on the exam fully when taking it. If traveling to a test center, allow for plenty of time for potential traffic issues. Or if taking online, take time well before your exam time to ensure that your testing space center is in compliance with all the rules and policies. Make sure you have your identifications for the check-in process. Check in 30 minutes prior to your scheduled exam time. Read all the test instructions and rules thoroughly so you feel confident in proceeding with the exam properly. Take your time. In each section of the test, you can flag questions you would like to return to review. But note, questions flagged in section 1 of the exam must be reviewed and final responses selected prior to that section closing for the 10-minute break. We also recognize that delivery of the exam through an online live remote proctoring may be a new and different experience. Live remote proctoring in general is a fairly new service that has evolved nearly overnight with the COVID-19 pandemic. While it offers candidates the opportunity to complete an ICF exam from their home or office, it's really important for candidates to be aware of the technical requirements for an online proctored exam and to be prepared for their exam appointment in advance. This guide from Pearson VUE walks through each stage of the remote proctored testing process, including the preparations that are critical to completing prior to the candidate's appointment, as well as to what to expect during their exam appointment. There are so many dynamics and factors at play when testing from home, from the software applications on the candidate system to internet connectivity issues that could impact the exam delivery. Even when all preparations are taken in advance, there are still factors that could impact the exam experience. This guide also provides candidates with information on how to contact Pearson VUE should something arise during their exam experience. And ICF Credentials and Standards is also here to support candidates who experience issues with their online exam. For these reasons, many candidates choose to complete the exam in a test center where the unique technical challenges of an online testing are not a factor. We partnered with Pearson VUE in part because they are among the few testing vendors that provide global testing services with centers available around the world. If a candidate does have trouble locating a test center near them, we encourage them to reach out to support@coachingfederation.org. We can always work with Pearson to identify and locate a third-party test center to support you in taking your exam. All right, that was a lot of information. We went through it probably pretty quickly. So I am available to answer any questions on ICF in general, on the credentialing process, and anything else that you might have about the exam. And it looks like we have questions. Always exciting.
I think
Oh,
Zora.
I'm not going to be good with names. Zora?
Zora.
Hi.
Hi.
Let me get your name right as well. Aileen, right?
Correct. Very
All
good.
right, great. Thank you for the information, Eileen. I want to know if, so you explained the difference between the new ACC exam and the ICF credentialing exam, right? Which is open until March 25, if I heard it right, or May 25, 2025.
Well, the credentialing exam is going to stay in effect for the PCC and MCC credentialing application levels. ACCs, at the ACC level, you now have the option until March of, I think, 14th of 2025 to take either exam in order to meet the exam requirement for your credential.
Right. My question is around, so if I have two options as an ACC, I can choose between these two. Does it hold any weightage? Is one better than the other in terms of the value that I take at the end of the exam or in terms of the market standards?
It is not. So either one will fulfill the requirement for the ACC exam requirement. So there is no difference. It changes nothing with the credential that you receive. The reason that we have it open currently as an option is that we did implement a year or so ago, the option, well, the benefit for individuals who take the ICF credentialing exam, if they apply for their next upgrade, so if you're an ACC, you take the exam and you apply for your PCC within a year, within 12 months, we wouldn't make you take that exam again. So it's really, but as we're transitioning now to the ACC exam, we're allowing this transition period for individuals to make that choice. But soon it will be, next year, it will be just the ACC exam available. So for anyone who is either a current ACC looking to upgrade for your PCC and you've recently taken the exam, or if you are looking to go ahead and get your ACC now, but do have plans and do see that you'd be able to reach your PCC, shortly after, you may want to consider taking the credentialing exam. because it is a lot to go to another test center and take the same kind of exam within that short time of period, because it is an intense exam. So we do want to acknowledge that if it's been done recently, we can keep that for you.
Thank you, Aileen. That answers.
Great.
Thanks, Aileen. A follow-up question on that. What
Mhm.
about the people who have taken the earlier ACC exam? Like, there was a CK test that was there earlier. And
Yeah.
if the people have taken that and they now want to do PCC, or they have taken that and their PCC and now they want to upgrade to MCC or renew PCC for that matter. So what is the process for that?
Okay, so for anyone who's taken the coach knowledge assessment, which was in effect from about 2014 to August of 2022, that was an exam where you took it once and you didn't have to take it again. However, we have now moved to the ICF credentialing exam and now the ACC exam. Those are required with each application. So if you took the coach knowledge assessment, if you apply for an upgrade or reapply for a credential, you will need to take the ICF credentialing exam. Keep in mind, the exam is not required for renewal. So if you're maintaining your ACC, PCC, or MCC, you don't take the exam. We're just looking for continuing education there. If you let your credential lapse, then you would need to reapply and take the exam again.
Okay, so in this case, whether the person is taking ACC, PCC, or MCC, the credential exam has to be taken. It doesn't matter which one it is. Just to,
Well, at the PCC and MCC, they have to take the credentialing. At the ACC level, they can choose
They have a
either
choice,
ACC
yes.
or PCC
the current
or
one.
the credentialing.
I have
Okay.
just one question
Sure.
over here. So regarding the ICF PCC, the timeline is till March, is it, for applying? I mean, before March, I mean, how much time will be required to apply for the exam, and how much should we prepare in advance?
Yeah, so you can apply for your credential at any time. Your education does not expire, mentor coaching does not expire, your experience hours do not expire. So you do not need to feel that there is a timeline as to when you need to apply. That is a personal choice, for yourself and your situation. The March deadline is just when it will be closed for ACCs to have the option to take the situational judgment exam. After March 14th of 2025, any ACC application will have to take the ACC exam. They won't have the option anymore to take the credentialing exam.
Got it. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And one of the other things to kind of note, depending when you apply, is there is a bit of a review time, depending on the pathway that you go through. It can be anywhere from like 2 weeks to 12 to 16 weeks, depending on the level in which pathway you have to take. And once you're authorized for the exam, you have 60 days to be able to schedule and take the exam. So don't feel that you have to be rushed, that, as soon as it's been approved for the exam, I have to get that done within a really tight time frame. You still have time to find an appropriate time and day to be able to take that exam. If that ends up not working, right? Life always takes a turn sometimes. That's okay. If your authorization expires, feel free to reach out after that 60 days when you are in a better place and know that you'll be able to take the exam. Reach out, we'll reauthorize it for you. Not an issue.
Aileen, on that note, like there's this one particular student who has taken the exam twice, and he's taken the credentialing exam for ACC. And I think the first time he missed by 3 marks, and the second time he missed like just by 1 mark. So does he have to go ahead and take the ACC exam or the credentialing exam, or what would you suggest for him?
It is entirely up to him. And it just kind of depends on what he feels he's struggling with, right? If he's struggling with, because a situational judgment exam is a lot of information. Like you saw how there's a lot you have to read. There's a lot you have to process with those actions. So if he feels that's been a struggle at all for him, have him check out the sample questions for the ACC. And if he's like, oh, this, I see a better pathway for me there. These are questions that I feel more confident in being able to answer. Then he can definitely retake the exam by switching over to the ACC exam. If he's like, it's still 6 1/2 dozen to me, he can choose either one.
Ellie, and let me understand, how many attempts one can give, or is there a limitation?
Sure. So we don't have an overall limitation, but we do have timing limitations. So if you fail the exam, you have to wait at least 14 days after the first time you fail. After you fail the second time, you do have to wait 30 days before you can be authorized again. We want to kind of force you to take some time to reflect. And then again, it was 30 days after each, failed attempt, with an up to six attempts within a 12-month period. So it would reset after the 12 months from your first attempt, and you could have another 6 attempts the following year.
And then
I
after
don't think
6,
anyone's had to do that, but that's how it's structured.
and what happens after 6? One person fails after 6 even.
It resets then 12 months after the first time that you took it, so that you could have in the following year another 12 or another 6 attempts within the 12-year or 12-month period.
Okay, also let me understand if I missed this point. Let's say if a person is PCC and has done the credentialing exam clear, and when he upgrades to MCC, once again the exam will be required, or?
It will. So in line, the other change that we made when we moved from the old exam, our coach knowledge assessment exam, to this proctored exam, is come more in line with best practices for credentialing, which is that you have to meet the requirements at each level, and each level now requires the exam. So yes, even if you took it at the PCC level, you will need to take it again at the MCC level. If there is a case, and this has happened, we do have individuals. One of the things that we instituted for the MCC many years ago is that you do have to now hold a PCC, gain the PCC, or have held it in the past before you can apply for the MCC. We just found individuals felt, overly confident that they were at the MCC level, and the fail rate was really low, fail rate was really high. And so once we instituted that you have to earn your PCC first, again, gave that opportunity to get some feedback from the assessment and the exam to really reflect, am I ready for the MCC? And then, they apply when they're ready, and our pass rate, went up, or the awarding rate went up significantly. In those cases, we do have individuals who have been coaching for a long time. They are ready for their MCC, but have to meet that requirement for the PCC. They take the credentialing exam, they turn around and apply for the MCC. If it's done within 12 months, they won't have to retake the exam. But for most individuals, going from the PCC to the MCC is typically more than a year, so you have to retake it.
Okay. Earlier, I think you reinforced that if one person is holding a credential and continuously re-credentialized, no exam is required.
Correct. For the renewal of any credential, we're looking that within a 3-year period, that you earn 40 CCEs, continuing coach education units. And those can be done through, taking additional courses, attending chapter events, our learning portal, receiving mentor coaching or giving mentor coaching, coaching supervision, giving or receiving, reading a book. If you write a book, there's a lot of activities that can count towards that 40 CCEs.
Okay.
Okay, so Eileen, I had a question.
Sure.
So before March 14th, you said that if somebody was applying for an ACC, they would have a choice between the new ACC exam and the situational exam, right? So if someone did go for the situational exam at that point of time, then you said something about having 12 months, a 12 months period. Can you just
to apply for your PCC and not have to take the credentialing exam again. So that's not that for most people, that's not going to be their situation, but there are a handful of people that it does apply to. And so once it kind of got out that was an offering, we didn't want to just cut that off. We wanted to allow for a transitional period.
I
So
think
just
That's
on
what
a
that is. So
lighter side,
there is no pressure to get your PCC within a year. It's just for
we
those
have
individuals.
a few of our coaches who have been doing brilliantly well in terms of creating business, but they were not too much into the credentialing, and now they want to do it. And they have almost like 25 to 3,000 hours of client coaching. So probably they can take the PCC and then jump to MCC within a year's time. You know, that's
Yep.
what we can do. So we have few of our students like that who've been working and not doing the credentialing, and we're pushing them, please go for the credential, you know.
yeah, so that will make sense. So it means that, if one want to avoid the trouble of giving exam again and to reach a PCC comfortable level, should one send directly apply for PCC and prepare for that? It makes more
Yes.
sense.
Yes, at the ACC or PCC level, you can apply directly to either one. You don't have to get your ACC first. You can apply directly to the PCC. The ACC was kind of created as a stepping stone to the PCC, as an acknowledgement of that you're kind of on this path and of the work that and experience that you have put in.
Okay, I heard you saying something about if one writes a book. So what does
Yeah,
it mean?
for the renewal of a credential, if you spend time writing, and it has to be coaching related, so you can't write fiction and have it count. But if it's coaching related, some other articles for a magazine or things like that, those can count towards your continuing coach education.
So typically, how many hours of CCE a book writing will earn?
Yeah, I don't review those daily, so I'm not too sure. And it's rare. It happens, and we have quite a few people who do writing, and it just depends. Like for a book, is it short? Is it long? What was your part? Were you one part of it? Maybe it was a collection of authors. So it just varies, but you would want to record the time that you spend in the actual, either research and writing of the book. So it can definitely, cover the full part. The thing to keep in mind with it is if this is something that's going to take you 10 years to do, you're only going to be able to claim it once, and you can only claim it after it's been published. So it actually has to be published before you can claim it. And you can only claim up to what's required or what's available.
Yeah,
So,
makes sense.
Aileen, is it any book or does it revolve around the coaching theme?
It has to be around coaching. So it is it's coach continuing education. So the 40 hours of education need to be, coaching based.
One more question
And
I
we
have.
do have on our website a page under credentials and standards for professional development. And if you check that out, it's got a whole long list of different activities that count towards the CCEs and then what's required to document them. And there's also a renewal page that you can check out to see what the exact requirements are for each level.
Okay. Can you give some more insights about coaching supervision? Like what does that involve and
So coaching supervision is similar to mentor coaching, but not the same. Mentor coaching is very narrowly focused on your coaching skills as they relate to the core competencies. Coaching supervision is broader. So you would work with a coach supervisor, and it can be about anything going on with your coaching. So whether you are struggling with maybe getting, your business up, whether it's maybe something specific with a client situation, all of that can count. It does not have to be tied directly to the core competencies. So that is definitely broader in focus.
Okay.
So with the chat question, and I'm sorry, I haven't been watching the chat, but this one popped up and I caught it. We still need to submit recordings, or does the ICF credentialing exam take care of that? So no, the performance evaluation is still part of the overall requirements for a credential. For a credential, we are looking for a specific amount of education hours, a specific number of coaching experience hours, that you've had 10 hours of mentor coaching done over a 3-month period of time or longer, that you have passed a performance assessment, which is the recorded coaching call, and then also passed the exam. For level 1 and level 2 programs that are out there now, it includes the performance evaluation and the mentor coaching requirements for a credential. So you don't actually submit that reporting any longer to ICF. It's done within the school, but it is still a requirement. It does not take the place of the exam. It's one more thing to help prep you for where are the coaching competencies within your coaching, how are you identifying them, what needs to be strengthened so that you can be set up for success for the exam. If you're going through other education that's either not ICF accredited or using CCEs, or you have education in your past that was ICF accredited as ACSTH, we do have pathways available for those. And in those, you would submit your recorded calls to us, and they would be assessed by an ICF assessor to meet that requirement.
There are other questions also that's there on the chat box.
Oh,
with respect to the material that's available for PCC prep. Is there any other thing other than the 8 questions? And of course, also I saw when you were presenting, there was a lot of hyperlinks that's there in your presentation to go directly to those available resources. So will we get a list of those?
Yes. So yeah, we will get this presentation over to you guys as a PDF. So then you can have those hyperlinks, because our website has a lot of information and it's not always navigationally friendly. So yes, we will get that to you so you can go right to where you want. For the prep for ICF, it is kind of those resources, the core competencies, check out those videos, the ethics, check out their additional, resources and understanding the ethics. But as far as like a prep course or the sample exam, that is not yet available from ICF. So now that you kind of saw that circle on that one slide of what it takes to kind of create an exam, that circle doesn't end. And so it continues. We start creating new items, we swap them, we test them out, we swap them out. And that's what's going to give us a pool of really sound, good questions that we can use as an exam prep. So it's something that we want to do, but we want to do it right, which, is really looking at some of those retired questions. And so when that pool gets large enough, we'll start to hopefully create something. And we have some other resources in the works too, that might help support putting together an exam prep.
Okay.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
So, Eileen, one question that I have is, to apply for an exam, what are the prerequisites? So do we finish like the coaching, 100 hours, the evaluation, and only then we can apply for the exam?
So the exam is part of the application process. So you will actually apply for your credential. We are going to need your coach education certificate. We need an attestation that you've reached the 100 or the 500 hours. If you didn't do a level 1 or level 2 program, we'll need your mentor coaching information for those 10 hours. And then the performance evaluation, if again, you didn't go through a level 1 or level 2 program. And then once all that has been reviewed, then you will receive the link to take the exam. So you do need to meet the requirements first, and then you'll be sent the exam.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely.
I have a question here.
Sure.
My question is regarding the CCU, which you have mentioned that one of the things required for is also a chapter meetings. So what is the starting point of the chapter meetings? Is it post ACC, or is it before that also can start?
As far as counting any CCEs or involvement with the chapter?
Involvement with the chapter.
So involvement with the chapter, it varies between chapters. Some require that you also have a global ICF membership. Some do not. Some do have it open to non-members, so you don't even have to be a member of a chapter. You could still attend their activity. So it depends with the chapters. So you would have to we do have on our website, make sure I give you the right place. I think under professional coaches, there's a chapter map, and you could put in each city, and then you can kind of see what's around your area. The other thing to keep in mind is one of the best things that came out of COVID is, this online, right? Everyone had been struggling kind of prior to that about, oh, we have to stay in person for this and that, but it really exploded how we can do things online. So a lot of chapters are still offering things online. So it does mean that you could still participate in chapters that maybe aren't even local to you. So we do have that, especially with people who then travel, who might actually be members of 2 chapters. Like they want to be involved when they're here, but they stay in touch, through online. So a lot of flexibility, but the chapters do have the ability to set some of that up themselves. So you want to check out and get involved with one that's supporting your interests. And that's why we have the chapters, right? It's the local interest. And it may or may not be in line with what you're most interested in, but there may be another chapter not too far off that would be better suited for you. So check them out.
Okay. Thank you.
I do see a question here. How do we prove that we've done the 500 coaching hours to qualify for a PCC? So all of the hours in your application, you'll be attesting. It is a legal attestment that you've gained the 500 hours, that 450 of those have been paid, that you had the 25 clients, along with some other things that you need to attest to. We do random audits. You do not upload a client coaching log to us anymore. We're not going to accept any personal information of your clients. But if you're selected for an audit, you should have been maintaining a client log, one to know, to feel confident in being able to reach that 500 hours and report it to us. But you will then use your log and you will reach out to your clients and ask them to verify back to ICF your coaching of them. So that's how that works. Okay. Is there any requirement regarding how recent the coaching programs need to have been? If you took programs in 2022, can you apply in 2025? Absolutely. Education does not expire. There will always be a pathway available for you to be able to apply towards a credential. For a credential, we have it open. We don't restrict anyone from even having to take ICF programs. You can use non-accredited programs. You have to demonstrate that it's meeting the education requirements for that level. But if you can do that, then we are happy to accept it. So all you have to do is be able to meet the requirements. Education does not expire. Your experience hours won't expire, and your mentor coaching won't expire. So you can apply when you're ready. All right.
Only your exam expires after 1 year if they don't apply. That is very strict.
Well, as far as being able to use it for your next, yes,
I have my own submission and point here that if people have once passed the exam, I believe that this should not be at least in the upgradation. Yes, when you relapse and relapse for sufficient time, it's a good idea. But if one has done an exam at PCC, going to MCC continuously, it's my suggestion that it should not be again tortured to sit before the U test. Okay. And
yeah, it is a bummer to kind of have to do, but it is in line with kind of the best practices for credentialing, is to ensure that when you apply for your MCC, you're meeting all of the requirements, which includes, being able to meet and pass that exam again.
okay.
Yeah.
That's my suggestion. Maybe at any point of time it can be considered if.
So the team coaching certification, I see this in the chat as well. Under our website, credentials and standards on the ICF-accredited.org site, we do have on the gray navigation bar something about the ACTC, the Advanced Certification in Team Coaching. You do need to hold a current credential of ACC, PCC, or MCC, any level, in order to be able to apply. We're looking for 60 hours of coach-specific education in team coaching. So keep that in mind. This is specialized. It does have its own exam as well. You need to have experience in team coaching. You will have to submit letters of verification for that at this time. So you can check out all the requirements on that page under Credentials and Standards on coachingfederation.org. The credentialing exam for any one of the levels is going to depend on the pathway that you have to take. So it's dependent on the level and the pathway that you need to take. So it ranges, I want to say from about 300 USD to 900-ish United States dollars. So again, just depending on the level and the application path that you have to take. Right now, it's kind of looking at the amount of work that we have to put into it. Do we have to do the performance evaluation? that adds to the cost of the overall application. Okay, I have completed an ACC coaching program from 2 different academies. Each academy gives me 60 hours. Does it mean I have 120 hours or just 60 hours? You have 120. So your education continues to add up. So if you were looking to go for your PCC, you just need 5 more hours and you'd have the 125 needed.
So the same for mentoring. I have 10 hours of mentoring from one academy, 10 hours from the other. So it's 20 hours of mentoring, although it was for the same ACC level. Is that correct?
If those were level 1 programs, then that mentoring was to the ACC level. And so you would have to get another round of mentor coaching, the 10 hours over 3 months to the PCC level specifically.
Okay. But in terms of education of 60 hours, it adds up as 120 hours.
Correct.
Oh, thank you, Aileen. It helps.
And in that case, you would also have to submit recordings for a performance evaluation at the PCC level.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Other questions?
So,
And
follow-up question on what Zora just asked. As an institute, we have different
Levels.
syllabus for level 1 and level 2, right? Now, if somebody's just completed level 1 from some other institute and they're doing level 1 again from our institute, the training part of it still adds up to the hours?
It does.
It does. Okay.
So you can the credential, while the accreditation of the programs of level 1 is kind of mapped to the ACC, it's matching the requirements that are needed to the ACC level. A level 2 is matching the requirements for a credential at the PCC level. However, if you look at the requirements specifically for the credential, we don't say you have to take a level 1 or a level 2 program. We say you need 125 hours of education. You need mentor coaching to the PCC level. You need a performance evaluation to the PCC level. So there is a pathway at the PCC level called level 1/ACSTH, which ACSTH was one of our old accreditation types. And so you can use 2 level 1s plus some extra hours if needed to reach the 125 hours and follow that pathway.
Okay.
Aileen, just looping back on the same question. So what happens to the learning that we do through courses online? Not as ACC or PCC, but the mini learnings that we do through, let's say, 1 or 2 hours of learning that we kind of choose online? Or seminars that we attend for coaching?
Okay, so are you wanting to use those courses to apply for an ACC or a PCC?
Yeah, can we add those hours continuously then?
You can. The situation there will be are you taking courses that are ICF accredited as CCEs or non-accredited? Actually, either one of those is going to land you in what's called the portfolio pathway, because we're going to have to do some math to ensure that you are meeting the breakdown for the level of what you're requiring, of what you're applying for, as to how much education you've had in core versus how much is what's called resource development. So something related to coaching, but not specifically to the core competencies. There's a breakdown in the education requirement for each level for that. You would have to have your mentor coaching done. And then also you would submit your recording or recordings for the performance evaluation if you go through the portfolio pathway. But yes, you can count CCEs towards the total of or online courses that you receive a certificate from. It has to be a structured program. And if you receive a certificate of completion, those can be utilized towards the education hours needed, either for the 60, the 125, or the 200.
All right.
And that's
maybe,
one other point along that is if you gain your ACC and you're renewing and you're getting continuing education, if those are being done through programs, you can add those in and use them towards then your PCC. So when you apply for your PCC, you can use anything, any education that you have, even if you used it previously for your ACC or for the renewal of your ACC.
So just one thing which I need to understand, if somebody is doing an online training, which is not under ICF accreditation, or they don't have any program which is under ICF, then those hours will also be counted for CC, or they would not?
Well, you would have to do some extra work. So that's called non-accredited training. And what you would have to do is provide us not just that you completed the course, but we'd also need to see supplemental documentation, robust documentation, to show us exactly what you were taught and for how long, so that we could confirm that, okay, it was an hour-long course, and we can see that, yes, core competency information was covered, and then X amount was maybe covered in coaching related things.
Okay.
Yeah, one more thing, that if suppose reacting the same question, if somebody has taken level 1 twice, it amounts to 120, let's say, or 125 hours. Now, can the institute, they can go the institute path, or they have to go the portfolio path?
They can do the institute also.
They would, at the PCC level, it depends on how you earn that extra 5 hours, or if so a level 1 can be for more than 60 hours. So it depends on what your math is for the level 1 program. So if you have a level 1 program, 2 level 1 programs, and their total number of hours equals 125 or more, then you would go through the level 1 ACSTH pathway at the PCC level.
Yes.
If you take 2 courses that are exactly the 60 hours required for the ACC level, then you have 120 hours. You have to find another 5 hours.
Yeah.
You
So
can either
after
take
5 hours,
another course, level 1 course, and you have a whole bunch.
Yeah, so let's say
Or you do 5, things in the learning portal, and that gets you the 5. That then puts you in the portfolio path.
if it's combined to 125, 130 hours put together with the 2 courses, then the person can go via level 2 path instead of the ACSTH path
No.
that is required.
No.
no.
It has to be
A
ACSTH.
level 2 program includes the mentoring and the performance evaluation to the PCC level. A level 1 is ACC level. So you're just combining 2 ACC level programs to meet the training hours, which means we still need to see that you have received mentor coaching to the PCC level, and you need to submit reporting so we can ensure that your coaching is to the PCC level, because that's not done in a level 1 program.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I have another question to it. So let's say the person has finished 130 hours with 2 level 1 programs, and then the person can still go for mentoring and coaching session evaluation with the second institute to complete the level 2 program. Is that correct?
So there are situations where there are organizations out there that offer a level 1 and a level 2 program. And so a lot of it does transition. So you do their level 1, and then they allow you to transition into their level 2 program. How those are structured are by education providers. So you need to talk to the education provider about how things are set up. So it can be unique to each one. So some do have that kind of a pathway. You do your level 1, and then the requirements for the level 2 are at the next, in their next program, and they kind of grandfather you in.
Okay.
But that's needs to be spoken to by the
institute.
programs can kind of set how they want to design things. So
Anjali has a question, so.
I've done my coaching program from my organization. Will that learning? So if your organization, if you mean kind of your work organization, most likely not. What we're looking for education for a credential is that it is a structured program. So there is a structured curriculum. There is an issuance of a certificate. That's what we would be looking at. And typically those programs done within an organization don't meet that criteria. It may, but that's something that you can be more specific about and have a conversation with our support team on. So if you have specific questions about your education or anything, feel free to reach out to support@coachingfederation.org and include your certificates and your situation, and they'd be happy to start to review that with you and make sure you get on the right path. and can design a way forward for you. So I'm going to put that in the chat really quick. Support at.
And it's like non-accredited training hours that we were talking, like an online training. So
Correct.
Similar to that, like my organization, they have a full-fledged program, like 50 hours of learning, then they issue the certificate, then they make you practice on the coaching sessions, they assign you coaches. So yeah, we can always look at and discuss it if that is considered or not. Yeah, but it's a full accredited program within the organization.
Okay. Yeah, and there are some organizations that do that as well, is they actually have programs come in, you know, other coach providers, and they provide it through the organization. So that definitely would count because that is a structured program.
It does. Thank you.
Okay. So I do have one. I'm pursuing the PCC and I play the role of HR in my organization. I have several hours of coaching my team and stakeholders. That won't be paid as I'm employed already. How do I log them in my 500 hours? So for this one, they're probably not going to count. So you can, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. One, if your role includes coaching and actual coaching, not using coaching skills, you can count those towards your 500 hours. If that's part of your responsibilities, that in your job description, basically it says that you will provide coaching, then you're being paid to coach. And so those would actually count as coach hours. HR positions and some of the other leadership positions, it gets a little bit tricky. Often you are using coaching skills in your conversations with individuals, but they haven't actually come to you for coaching. So in order for it to count as a coaching hour, it has to be in your responsibility, and they have to know that they're coming to you specifically for coaching. The other little bit to this for internal coaching is you cannot count hours of coaching done with your direct reports. So if somebody reports directly to you, any coaching that you do with them is not going to count towards that total of 500 hours. It's just the idea of whether it's real or perceived conflict of interest. And we want to stay away from that to get to those total requirements. So it's often that individuals might not feel they can be completely open and comfortable with somebody who has the power to influence their job or fire them. So keep those in mind. We do have an information page on our website around the experience hours, and that's outlined in there as well.
So
another question?
Even if it's not there in the JD, the person can still get a letter from his supervisor or some authority saying that these have been the coaching hours that the person has performed coaching sessions within the organization. Will that be possible?
Well, if it's not in their job description, then I don't know why the organization would do that. So if the organization hasn't said, yes, we want you to coach, then you're not being paid to coach. Now, it doesn't have to be in your specific job description, right? It has to be in the understanding, right? Like not everything you do is in there, but if they know and that's what they want you to do is I want you to offer coaching, and the individuals coming to you know that it's coaching and it's during your regular work hours, then that can count.
Do keep
Coaching
evolving, so yeah.
Yeah, coaching somebody over your lunch hour or right after, that's not going to work. Okay, another question.
Hi, I have a question. I'm in a situation where I have got 125 hours for PCC. I have not completed the hours for even ACC. So 100 hours of coaching I have not completed. So I'm in, I'm sure not a so unique position where I'm considering whether I wait and do directly PCC or ACC. Now my question is, apart from the hours, what is the difference between mentoring for ACC and mentoring for PCC?
So each level does have a different level of expectations in how you apply the core competencies, and that's the difference. So on our performance evaluation page, which you can find through the ACC, PCC, or MCC information page, they all have tabs for all these requirements that you can find additional information. On the general, how to kind of prepare for the performance evaluation, there's a link to what's called the minimum skills requirements. And that page, you can see at the ACC level, what assessors are going to be looking for, at the PCC level, what the assessors are looking for, and at the MCC level. So you'll see a progression of skills and the depth of how those skills are applied, or how the core competencies are applied at each level. That's the difference. And so for clients, you know, when they're looking at, you know, what level of coach do I want to go for, that's what, you know, is often an indicator for them, is, you know, how much depth do I want there from my coach. Now, that's not always, you know, for some people, every situation is different. It's a very personal question, you know, and everyone's situation is different. Your client base could be very different as well. If your clients, if you're doing this maybe on the side, maybe you want to stay in ACC, but your clients will see that you've held that ACC for an extended period of time. You've been actively coaching. That might be where you want to be, and you're happy with that. For others, it may be that they're looking to progress differently within the coaching industry or within organizations. Potentially, we're seeing that really blossom with more organizations looking at coaching and bringing that into their communities. So it's a really kind of a personal question, depending on where you want to go and what your situation is at any given time. So whether you see the benefit of, I hit the 100 hours, let me go ahead and get my ACC. For others, it's, you know, I'm now on a track, things are building, I'm going to hit that PCC really quick. So maybe it's not worth the time and the money to get my ACC. I should wait and just go directly to the PCC, because I'm going to be able to do it within, you know, X amount of time. And I'm comfortable not having a credential until that time. Very personal decision.
That actually brings up two different questions, followed up questions, if you like.
Sure.
First one is, let's say I finish my mentoring in January 2025.
Mhm.
Till when can I do my PCC hours?
Anytime. It does not expire.
Okay. Then the second question, it comes, let's say I finish my mentoring for PCC in 2025 January.
Mhm.
Then come May, I think that, okay, fine, 500 hours is taking too long. Can I use that mentoring towards my ACC?
Yes. So if you're planning and thinking forward that you want to get your PCC, you can look for mentoring now and let the mentor know, my goal is to get to the PCC level, and I want to be mentored to the PCC level, and they can provide that for you. And they'll have a conversation with you. And if they're like, you are not ready, like, let's focus on just getting you to the ACC level, then it will be up to you when you get ready for your PCC, is, do you want another round of mentor coaching to ensure that you are coaching to that PCC level? Mentor coaching is one of the requirements that I think candidates should leverage to the maximum for their benefit. It needs to be, for those that aren't doing it within a program, you have the flexibility to really utilize it. It has to be over 3 months or longer, which means if you're on a path and you're actively coaching, but you know it's going to take you a year, then use that year to really maximize your mentor coaching. You go to the mentor, you get mentoring, you get that feedback, apply it, take your time. And when you're ready, you're like, okay, here's my next session. I want to boost up. Really maximize it. Don't feel you have to do it exactly at 3 months. Utilize it to your benefit and your development as a coach.
Okay, luckily my 3 mentors are on this call, so I am
Oh.
sure they have heard it and they will guide me accordingly. Otherwise,
So noted.
thank you very much.
You bet.
Really,
Right.
one question for me. So I want to appear for ACC first, right?
Okay.
Let's say I go for the credentialing exam, which is that best answer and the worst answer thing, right?
Yep.
And I heard you mention that, okay, if you have PCC in the mind moving forward, then this can be one-time exam so that you can upgrade yourself later to PCC, of course, followed by a recorded version of a session completing the hours. So if I give the credentialing exam, within which time frame, how much time do I have left to upgrade to that 500 hours and submit that to recording as well?
You have a year, so 12 months from when you pass the exam.
All right, thank you.
So somebody who has completed their level 2, as in the training, mentoring, and coaching session evaluation, everything from the institute. Okay, so let's say we've given the completion certificate of level 2 to Anurag, and now he wants to apply for ACC. So he can take the level 2 completion certificate and apply for ACC, and then the same to apply for PCC again a year later or whenever he's ready.
Correct. Correct. So the same education, a level 2 education, can be used for both the ACC and then the PCC. You don't have to get a fresh education. Each requirement or each level's requirements are unique to themselves, and we don't give consideration to what has been used in the past. So we're just looking, do you meet the requirements for this level? Yes or no? So, yep, that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up, that can be utilized for both.
But the exam part will be again once for ACC.
Probably for most
That's
people,
the-
yes, you would have to take
that's
both
the
exams.
catch.
Passing
All right.
exams is easy. Passing success mentoring is difficult.
Well, and that's one of the things that I like about the ICF credential is, I know it's a lot, right? It's a lot of requirements, but I really like that they're all based on the exact same thing, right? Like it's really reiterating your education is in the core competencies, your experience, you should be utilizing those core competencies. The mentor coaching is your skills to the core competencies. The performance evaluation is a snapshot of how are you doing right now to the core competencies, which really should set you up for success for that exam on the core competencies. So we are focused with our credential, which I appreciate. And so all these requirements really are about, being successful as a coach. And then also, as we kind of talked about a little bit in the presentation, coaching is growing as a profession and as an industry, and it is gaining recognition. And it is because we have professionals and we are treating it as a profession, meaning there is a credential, there is a way to kind of regulate, we have ethics. So even though it's not, regulated by the government or anything, yet, having a body like ICF that has the reach, that is well grounded and is really focused not just on, kind of the individual coaches, the overall global ICF is really about the coaching industry. And if we have a strong coaching industry, that means that we have this atmosphere for individuals to come into the industry. So if you haven't been on our website, I really invite you to check out kind of the homepage. We have a whole research department. We have a lot of research that we've done, those global studies that we kind of talked about a little bit in the presentation, a consumer awareness paper. We're looking at AI and technology in coaching and have come up with some parameters a little bit around that. So that's continuing work that's going on. When COVID happened, we did an immediate kind of, impact research on that, take a look a year after what that looks like. We also have the Thought Leadership Institute that is looking forward. What is the future, not just of coaching, but kind of our planet as a whole? So if you're interested in where are we going, either as coaching or, kind of worldwide, take a look at what the work that they're doing there. It's really kind of exciting. We have resources both through the Thought Leadership and through research where you can enter in portals to get information or to do research. You can be part of a research panel if so people come to ICF to say, hey, I want to do research and I need to, be able to get some coaches input. We have that resource. So if you're interested in participating there, you can. And there's just a lot that's going on that's not tied to kind of the individual membership or program or credential. It's really about the industry as a whole. And that care really kind of comes through in everything that we do. So that's one of the things I find really, that when I was looking for a new job, I'm relatively new, it's 4 years here with ICF. I came from a equine background, so horses, so very different, but I was still looking for something that would be important and have an impact and was moving forward. So that was a struggle that my current my past organization was struggling with, was moving forward. And when I saw that ICF wasn't about staying still and just being happy with where things are, but it was constantly, what's next? Where do we go? We want to stay ahead of the curve. It was very attractive to me. So I encourage you, whether you could become credentialed or not, whether you become a member or not, feel free to keep tabs on what's going on at ICF research, Thought Leadership Institute, our blog, which if you're interested, you can submit to, because that's done by coaches. It's not something that we curate necessarily. It's stuff that people send to us. That's all available to you as a coach, period. No membership, no credential required.
Eileen, in this regard, I just want to add one important information because I was fortunate to attend the new Leadership Knowledge Summit, which happened in United Arab Emirates. And it was mostly focused on the AI disruptions. One of the areas they feel that the disruption of this particular era won't be affected is only one, and that is major one is on sales, or what you call soft skills trainers and the coaches.
Interesting.
And they very well mentioned about all the organizations who are involved in coaching industry, especially the ICF name was reckoned. And they said, yeah, interestingly, the fact is that the AI won't affect the coaching industry at all because the emotional part is completely missing in the air.
That is exactly right. That's what we've also seen, is that emotional connection is not there. You need a real person to connect to.
Exactly. I can add one more thing here. People are going to say, life is saying this, wife is saying this. Now one more confusion. AI is saying this.
Yeah, but the disruption won't be affecting at all this soft skills trainers, and they have identified only 3 jobs. One of them is this.
Interesting. That is great to know.
Yeah,
Thank you for
so
sharing.
when Eileen, we mentioned about moving forward, I think I really endorse that your point is spot on.
Good. And I see somebody has asked about kind of AI research that's there. It is now located on our home button, and on that gray navigation bar under research, there's a drop down that talks about AI and technology. Click into that page and see what's going on. And I'm sure there's probably a way, or as things come available, that you can get involved with. I know there was 2 that had like a comment period on some, they're not competencies. I can't remember what they call them, but there was an open call for people to kind of talk about what they had put together. So there's a lot going on. Keep tabs of that. Research itself does have a newsletter, I believe. So if you're interested in those types of things, sign up for that newsletter, and that will keep you involved in different opportunities that might arise to become involved. Great. Well, we ran, I think, way over time, but this was great. I appreciate your time. I hope you guys feel a little bit more comfortable with the atmosphere of credentialing and ICF, and we are here to help. I did put in there our support, so feel free to check that out. At the bottom of our page, there is a support link as well, and that goes to an FAQ page that does answer some questions where you don't always see the answer necessarily on an information page, or it pulls it out a little bit better. Feel free to check all of that out, and we are here to help guide you through. We know it can be complex, so our support and our credentialing team is really here to, we see it more as conversation. So once you submit your application, and even before, it's a conversation. It's part of your journey, and we recognize that, and we'd be happy to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Eileen, for being over here.
Thank you.
And also, I would just, before I hand it over to Tuba, we also have another session tomorrow at 4:30 which is with Tuba about the membership. So then we are going to talk all about the membership and the membership benefits. And, like a lot of research that Eileen was mentioning today, a lot of it is available online without membership, but then there is quite a few which is there only for members, or at a very, very discounted price for members. So yeah, we can talk about it tomorrow further. And Tuba, you can talk more.
Thank you so much, Ellen, for the amazing seminar that you took right now. And Prosperity, I'll be helping you with the presentation right after this webinar, so you can share the link. ICF resources with them. So we'd like to close on, and again,
What time
it's
we
an early
meeting
morning
tomorrow?
for Ellen, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think-
I'm ready for my cup of coffee.
Okay, thank you very much, Ellen. Thank you very much from the core of our
Thank
heart.
you, everyone.
Thank you
It was
very
my
much for
pleasure.
joining us.
Bhavesh has one question. Yes,
What time tomorrow we are meeting?
4:30. If you can just drop in your email ID in the chat box, we can connect.
Okay, so nice of you. Thanks a lot, because I got this message just an hour before, so I was not knowing, and it was not mentioned anything. So
Sure.
whatever I
Just drop in
think
your
we-
mail ID in the email, in the chat box immediately. Right?
Thank you.
Before.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so should we say bye-bye and relieve her? And thank you very much for showing up.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ellen.
everyone. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Enjoy your cup of coffee.
That was
Bye-bye.
quite insightful. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.